If you've ever thought that profound events of faith only happen in distant places and ancient stories, prepare yourself, because what you witnessed, in the middle of rural Texas on a sunny day, brought thousands to their knees and forever changed the way we view Our Lady's presence among us, especially in the simplicity of everyday life. This is not a mystical tale of shadows and ghosts, but of undeniable light, shared devotion, and an overwhelming peace that filled the air, confirming for everyone there the materialization of a grace made visible for a brief and holy instant. The way the presence manifested itself was so clear and at the same time so full of mystery that it transformed a simple day of community prayer into a milestone of conversion and hope, generating a wave of silent emotion, tears, and sudden certainty about the maternal intercession that hovered over that village. If you have someone who needs this kind of light in their life right now, who seeks a miracle of comfort or healing, take this moment. Write down the names of people, friends, and relatives who need a special and urgent prayer, as we will include all of these names in our main rosary prayer, uniting our faith with the grace of this testimony. The village in question, a forgotten and quiet spot in the heart of rural Texas, with its few dusty streets, rustic whitewashed houses, and cotton fields stretching to the horizon, lived under the calm routine of simple and dedicated faith, with a central square, dominated by a small church and the statue of Our Lady of Lourdes, as its spiritual epicenter. On that particular day, the sunlight was particularly golden, creating a scene of almost biblical serenity, and hundreds of people gathered for an open-air mass under the vast, cloud-filled sky that, ironically, served as a kind of natural canopy for the congregation. There was a deep sense of community and reverence in the air, with the faithful of all ages, from grandparents clutching worn rosaries to children playing quietly, focused on reading the scriptures, their eyes fixed on the beautiful but unremarkable statue of the Virgin, waiting only for the Sunday rite to conclude. Suddenly, the usual atmosphere of tranquility was shattered, not by noise or distraction, but by the sensation that the world there had just shifted its tune. As the priest concluded the moment of communion, a sudden shift in the light began to take over the room, a light that came not from the setting sun or the clouds, but seemed to radiate directly from the ground of the square and, more specifically, from the area surrounding the image of Our Lady of Lourdes. This peculiar luminosity was not blinding, but had a serene, almost milky intensity, bathing the entire square in a pale gold and sky-blue hue that seemed to belong to another dimension, making the colors of people's clothes and the very rusticity of the houses seem more vibrant and holy, while an absolute silence, charged with expectation, fell upon those present. It was at that moment that those in the front rows began to put their hands to their faces, weeping in silent ecstasy, for where before there had been only the cold, painted stone of the statue, something rose, a kind of floating diaphanous form that seemed more like a painting in motion, maintaining the form, the calm countenance, and the cloak characteristic of Our Lady, but of a substance that defied reality. The moment was marked by an unmistakable clarity, not in the form of a physical apparition, but rather as a unanimous vision of an intensified light pulsating in the shape of Our Lady, gently rising above the statue of Lourdes, as if the stone image were the portal through which the true presence manifested itself to her humblest children. Many witnesses reported clearly seeing the celestial blue mantle, unlike any human fabric, and the light veil covering her head, all immersed in this radiance that, for them, was the pure manifestation of divine grace, a silent yet powerful confirmation that the intercessory mother had bent over that modest village. Most strikingly, no one needed to ask their neighbors what they were seeing, for the feeling was shared, an instant and profound conviction that this was Our Lady visiting their backyard church. This synchronicity in the vision eliminated any doubt about the validity of what they were witnessing, uniting everyone in a single heart of worship. The crowd's reaction was perhaps the most moving part of the event, demonstrating the deep faith that already existed there. There was no panic, hysterical screams, or confusion. Instead, a massive and coordinated wave of faith swept through the small square, resulting in an instant prostration, where everyone, including the priest, fell to their knees, many with tears of pure emotion and gratitude streaming down their faces, unable to maintain their composure before such unexpected holiness. The air, previously merely pleasant under the Texas sun, became inexplicably fragrant and exceptionally charged with a profound peace and a love that many described as indescribable, a love that penetrated the soul and dissolved fears and uncertainties. It was a living testimony that, in places where simple and true faith is nurtured with care, the heavenly answer can arrive directly and unquestionably, leaving an indelible mark on those hearts that remained open to intercession, experiencing the meaning of devotion. The visitation, as described by the villagers, lasted only a few minutes, but the eternity of that moment etched itself into the collective memory, redefining their religious experience. When the light began to fade and the glorious form returned to the ether from whence it had come, what remained was the deep scent of peace and the absolute certainty of a watchful love. People did not rush to their feet to comment or seek scientific explanations, for the message was clear. Their faith had been seen, recognized, and comforted by the Mother, and the sense of unity in that space was palpable, for the rare event left behind not fear but a unanimous sense of grace and validation, encouraging each person to deepen their commitment to daily prayer. They had experienced the presence of the promised peace, a peace that surpassed human understanding and that would remain the richest legacy of that simple day in Texas. In the days and months that followed, the small village neither sought notoriety nor turned the event into a tourist spectacle, maintaining the serenity and humility that had marked the day of the vision. However, something fundamentally changed in their community, as faith ceased to be merely a doctrine and became a burning conviction, a concrete experience of the maternal support that sustains us, culminating in a notable increase in devotion to the Rosary, acts of charity, and mutual forgiveness. They learned that miracles are not only found in history books, but can manifest themselves in the placidity of an ordinary day, in the simplicity of a rustic square, as long as there is a willing heart and a community gathered in sincere supplication before Our Lady of Lourdes. The great lesson of that extraordinary event was that the greatest conversion lies not in the apparition itself, but in the daily renewal of the commitment to live under the mantle of peace and charity revealed to them, carrying the certainty of divine intervention in every step of their earthly journey. The depth of this moment of faith in Texas offers a powerful comparison to our hectic daily lives, reminding us that true conversion, the miracle of peace in our hearts, and the comfort of intercession do not depend on grand spectacles, but rather on the constancy and sincerity of our daily prayer, on the preaching we do through the example of charity, and on our readiness to forgive and ask for forgiveness. Just as those villagers felt comforted and their faith was instantly renewed, we must seek this same renewal daily, recognizing that the Mother hears us in the humble repetition of the Rosary and inspires us to have greater faith even in the most difficult moments of modern life. The episode in the small square in Central Texas was a one-day event, but its message of hope and intercession must be lived continually by us, leading us to ask for more conversions, to build more peace around us, and to lay down our burdens with our heads held high, knowing that we are cared for and supported. Therefore, once again we join our voices. Write down the names of people you know need to be reached by this grace and peace, so they can be added to our main prayer of the Rosary, raising our common intention to God. This unusual testimony from the Texas village raises a central question about our own faith. How open are we to Our Lady's manifestation, not necessarily with lights and glorious forms, but in the small, essential miracles of everyday life, such as overcoming an illness, family reunion, or simply the courage to forgive a grave offense. Comment below about what this devotional event and the subsequent peace that filled the air means for your personal faith journey, and how the testimony of such a simple and sincere community faith inspires you to keep the rosary in your routine and cultivate love for your loved ones. If this story touched your heart and reinforced your conviction in the power of maternal intercession, like the video, share this message of hope, and subscribe to the channel so that together we can explore more intriguing moments of faith and grace, always seeking peace in Mary.